this is coming from our heart. This is not coming from somebody asking us to do this. We believe that this is one of the most important conversations we can have right now.
We want to invite you on a journey.
Yeah,
A
absolutely.
conversation. This isn't just for us.
Hey,
Hey.
can you hear us? That would be the question. Can you hear us?
Yes.
I love how the camera focused on the bags. Maybe it's drawing everybody's attention.
Oh,
to the
yeah, so
bags.
we're out of
Yeah,
focus.
Yeah, so like if we kind of do this and draw the attention up here, I don't know.
Welcome back, stranger.
Yeah, it's been a
Right?
while.
It has been. Well, you should say that to me because you're still doing this. But as far as you're,
Oh,
streaming live
yeah,
and stuff,
but
but yeah,
we
as far
haven't
as-
even seen each
we
other
have
much
not,
in the
yeah,
last.
I think it was like June, July, somewhere around.
That was the
there.
last time we did one of these.
Wow.
Yeah, June 8th.
So we might
I
be a little
looked.
rusty today, huh?
A little bit. So we're not going to go hardcore today. We're going to ease into it. So, Scott, what's in the bag? What do we got here?
Yeah.
Tell them what
So, hey-
our brilliant idea.
Yeah, we're celebrating really 2 years of doing this. I think it was January of 2020,
Yeah.
right? Just before.
Yeah, and you want to know what's crazy? We said,
Yeah.
let's do this for a year.
Yeah, right. We're gonna get through Resilient in 1 year. Chapter, each month we do a chapter, and now we're 2 years and we're just diving into chapter 10. So. Yeah, so we thought, hey, it'd be kind of fun to kind of surprise each other with a mug and
Yeah.
kind of maybe start a tradition.
Right.
And we got a new stage here, new setup.
Well, I think that was part of our idea, right? We have a table here. They can't quite see it right
Yeah,
now, but we
right.
have a table. We kind of want this as we move forward to be like, hey, grab a cup of coffee, or for some of you, a bottle of Mountain Dew, and and just hang out with us, right? We still want the conversation. We want all that, but we want it to kind of feel more podcasty, like, hey, let's just hang out. So we said, yeah, why don't we buy each other mugs? And then after we said that, then my wife was like, well, maybe you should just make a thing of it. So maybe we'll have to make a thing of it.
And if you guys find a fun mug,
Yeah, if you want to send us a mug,
hey, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
We'll do a little unveiling.
yeah, we'll use it on the show. We'll use it. So if you find some fun mug that you're like, hey, this reminds me of Scott and PJ, that might be scary, though. I don't know if we would.
Yeah, we might need to look at it ahead of time. We could get in some trouble.
Open it
But
before
so we
get
got
on the
we got each other mugs, and I don't know what you got me, and
No, we haven't seen these yet.
surprise, so I don't know how.
show. You go ahead, open yours
Okay,
first.
I'll open mine first.
Okay.
Here we go. So I'll do this Christmas
All
thing.
right. So I'll say we had a little bit of a hard time. Yeah. This is the same corner, too.
Is it really?
Throwing the stuff.
All right, let's open this thing here.
All right. It might take a little bit of explaining. We'll see if you can figure it out.
Buzz Lightyear. Check that out.
Oh, so the idea is, of course, we know you're an Air Force chaplain,
Yeah,
but what kind of base are you on?
Space Force base.
Space Force
Exactly.
base.
Yeah.
So that immediately made us think of you, and of course, the kids
Cool.
were sure that you needed that. So that's why fun,
Love
but
it.
but not just ridiculous either. It does have meaning to it. That's why we got you that.
Exactly. Cool. Yeah, space for sure. Love it. To infinity and beyond.
To infinity and
Yeah,
beyond
yeah.
for the show too, right?
Oh, exactly. Right.
Yeah, that's the first of hopefully many. Maybe they'll start
There we
seeing
go.
mugs
Yeah, start putting some
piling
mugs
up
there.
here.
That's
All right,
fun.
so I suppose I should do the same thing. I'm nervous.
Yeah.
What you guys don't know is we were sending pictures of mugs.
and we kind of gave
back
away
and
some. Maybe we
forth.
should have. Just stop
So
doing that.
Scott made me really nervous. Oh, that's great. I
So,
love that.
Yeah. So this is like our mugs are on a mug. Huh?
Yeah. If you can't see that, that is great. This is
Yeah.
that's like the first time we
I
went
think-
up to your cabin,
yep,
isn't
that,
it?
That was. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep, we
Thank
went,
you.
Went up there and we're kind of dreaming what this is going to be at that time. And
Yeah.
I think that was almost about 2 years ago.
Yeah, we were out on
So-
your boat. No, we were on that bridge.
Yep.
There's a bridge
Yep.
up there. Well, I'm
Exactly.
gonna use
Yeah,
my mug.
we'll do the christening right here, right? We're gonna go ahead and fill our mugs up. Oh my goodness.
you got a full. You drink a lot of coffee. We can with your mug. We can go for hours.
Exactly.
little
Oh my
coffee in
goodness.
there.
Yeah, this is like a two cupper, isn't it? Wow. Very good.
There we go.
That works good. Fun. Love it.
So grab your cups.
Now it looks like he's sweating because there's water going down his face.
grab your
Love
cups and hang out with us.
Yeah, well, welcome everybody.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks for jumping on. Jump in the chat. Thanks for letting us know where you're watching from. We're going to chill out a little bit today. We are
Yeah.
going to talk about the book a little bit. but we have not been on here in so long. We kind of wanted to let you know where we've been, where we're going, all of that.
Well, and we had some intentions, back in the early fall to do this, but there was a couple things that
we
came
had
up,
one scheduled,
right?
and then stuff came up. Yep.
And so
we even had to cancel our trip up north.
Exactly.
Yeah. So things got a little crazy.
Yeah, a little different, but we're really excited about this. We put some time and effort, got together and kind of created a new stage here.
This is our new resilient
specifically meant for resilient
studio right here. Yeah. So that's why we say as we collect mugs or whatever, we'll have some fun with this. And
because we think even after we get through Resilient, we have a desire to continue on with further conversations. We're coming up with a list of things and dreaming what God, how God can use that.
Yes.
And again, the sole purpose here is to have engagement with you. This is not for us. I mean, we've said that quite often. This is not for us. This is for us all to have a conversation about this very important topic of 2050 and ensuring that our kids are being discipled, and resilient for that day, so that they can be the future leaders of the church.
Well, people can always watch this later, and I think pretty much everybody here knows that. You can see it on our Facebook page. You can see it on my YouTube page. It generally always gets then added to my podcast as well. So you can find these afterwards, and you can watch them not live. But my point is, like you said, this is not for us. If we were just doing this, obviously we do it to try to encourage people. But if it was for us, it would be easier just to turn the camera on, record, and not go live.
Right. But
we
the whole
do it
idea
whenever.
of going live is that you guys engage.
We get this. Yeah, we get your comments. We know you're watching with us. Yep.
Hear your story around the topic that we're talking about, and that's why
that's what we're going to continue to do. Yep. And part of the reason we would, we've done it before. When somebody gives us a comment, if we put it up and we respond to it, one of us tries to read it. That way, if somebody is listening later on the podcast, they can kind of keep up with what's going on.
Yeah, very good.
So, and tell people.
Yes, please.
We're growing. It's growing between my YouTube channel has been growing. So it's over there, and it's going to get some attention over there. But our Facebook page also has been growing, but slowly. Yeah. So make sure you share this. Let people know, especially in your Awana groups. Let people know. Pull people in. We would love to have that engagement. We're going to work hard. We did some things in the fall and early winter to get some content on the Facebook page, and that ran out and busyness of the holidays. But it is my intent, my goal for us to be able to start doing more things that way too. We want to make that Facebook page valuable to you. So
even the Facebook page would be more of an ongoing conversation.
Yeah, we want that. If you have questions or thoughts, put them on there. Just post on there and start a conversation.
For sure. Yeah, and so this is really a reboot. I can't say it enough. If you're new to us, what?
When I take a drink, all I see is Scott. That was good of you. Way to put you on that side. I'm gonna have to drink
it that way. Yeah, there we go.
No, you can't even see it.
Oh my, goofy. Yeah. So this is a good reboot, and again, why are we doing this? We're doing this to spur on conversations around the topic of are we adequately preparing the future leaders of the church?
Right.
That's what really got this going, and for all of us to answer that question within our specific ministries, and what God's doing, and are we preparing them for what's coming, and then also forecasting. Okay, what is that world going to look like, in 2050? So when my kids are now my age.
Let's tie this into a conversation we've been having at our church, and very specifically had in a time of prayer Sunday night. And I don't mean this to be controversial but because I know there's some people watching and they're gonna think, what's he talking about? But and I'm not gonna dig way into this, but you can later maybe. But it seems pretty clear in Scripture that the way our church culture when it comes to pastors has strayed. Scripture makes it pretty clear that the local church should be training and raising up their own pastors. Like that's what happened in the New Testament, was they didn't go poach them from other churches. Okay, so I'm not saying that to cause controversy. But what I'm saying that for is as we are learning that and praying for that, one of the things that we are very aware of is I have a leadership class going right now, 7 guys that I'm teaching and training for leadership, possibly pastoral ministry out of that. But we are very highly aware that it doesn't start there. It starts when these kids come into our church, and our Sunday school teachers, our Awana leaders, our junior church, they are hopefully beginning to understand, and some of them are, that this isn't just, hey, this is Wednesday night Awana, or whenever we have Awana, let's just get through the night. No, this kid could be my next pastor, so I need to be pouring into him that way.
Yeah, and extremely intentional.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I know oftentimes it feels like in some kids' ministries, it's, okay, we've got this thing going on over here with the service or Sunday school for adults. There's a focus on the adults, but we're talking about intentionality that use this time. It's not a babysitter space, right?
No, we've got to fit. Really, when we're talking about what we're doing with our kids, it needs to start being talked about in the vision of the entire church rather than, okay, we have a kids ministry vision and then we have an adult ministry vision, but rather we have a church vision.
For sure.
And that's really where all this kind of ties into. And by the way, I was thrilled. I know it was a while ago now, but when we had AMC and had the opportunity to preach there, and that was fun. But what thrilled me was the response of the people there.
Oh my goodness, yeah, they're aligned with our
and I hope that some of that has to do with what we're doing here. I hope we've kept that conversation and started impacting lives and changing minds towards what kids ministry looks like. Because I was just thrilled.
Oh my goodness, yeah, it was encouraging to it was very encouraging to hear, that it's not about the program, right? The program of Awana or whatever it might be, VBS, right? It's not about that. Those are tools for discipleship,
right?
And I think we clearly got that even from the folks,
the people. Yes, right? Yeah.
And a focus on, okay, it's not about book completion in Awana, right?
Right.
Handbook completion, but it's about discipleship. Of a child still can be discipled, and that should be the measure of success instead of completing a book, right? And so those are, I just really was encouraged by that.
So I have a question. Let's do this, right?
Yeah.
We do this all the time. Those of you watching, if you were at AMC, let us know. How did that impact your ministry? Are there things that you learned that you're continuing to do, or things that you were encouraged to do that you're continuing to do? We'd love to hear from you. And if you're watching this later, drop it in the comments anyway. We would love to see. I can say this, Scott won't say this, but I know that Scott put a lot of time and effort and prayer into that. So it would be an encouragement to him to see how that's continuing to impact your ministry today.
Yeah, what are some things maybe you applied, right,
Yeah.
to your ministry from the conference? And we're throwing acronyms out there for people who might not know what we're talking about. AMC is a Awana Ministry Conference that we oftentimes do in the September, October timeframe in Grand Rapids, and it's bringing ministry leaders, kind of specifically in Awana, but we're going to be opening up to others as well.
I think that's a fantastic idea.
In the children's ministry world, and come together and just talk about child discipleship, really, and try to cast some vision for it, and encouragement.
We have really, as we've focused this ministry, we've said, yes, we're going to talk a lot about Awana because that's the framework in which we come from. You're an Awana missionary. We have Awana in our church. The book is written by Awana. However, we've said time and time again, even if you don't have Awana, this is for you.
Right.
And I think it would be great to be able to open up AMC to just whoever come and learn about child discipleship.
And we've talked about, do we just call it Child Discipleship Conference?
Yeah.
Something like that, where it's like you're inviting others to that might not have the experience of Awana to come in and have the same conversation.
Right.
We're talking this,
it'd be really appropriate to say, hey, come to this, Awana, or come to this child discipleship conference. Oh, by the way, it's sponsored by Awana.
Right.
Here's a tool that we give you to help you disciple children, but you don't have to do this.
Right.
I think that'd be very appropriate.
Yeah, and there's a I don't want to say maybe a line there, because obviously there are components to the conference that are specific to Awana. So I think we got to, anyways, that's another topic, but we would love for you to join that. and excited what God, does there, and would certainly love to hear how those things and things are applied within your ministry.
Yeah. So we've been gone for a few months. Where you been, Scott?
Yeah, all over the place.
I'd have been doing this, but you just didn't show up.
Right. Oh, yeah, all over the place. And next week, I'm actually going to be in Los Angeles.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Kind of jealous.
Yeah, for Resilient Child Discipleship Training.
Nice.
It's kind of a new thing that's just started this
Need
year.
somebody to go with you?
Yeah. Leah, my wife's coming with me.
Okay.
Sorry. But really
She didn't buy
excited
you a
about
mug.
that. She didn't buy me a mug.
I'll be gone anyways next week, too. I get to go to sort of warmer weather next week, too, but it's all work as well. It's
Right.
going to a pastor's conference in Florida.
Yep.
Leaving
Very good.
tomorrow morning, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
All work,
Well, thanks
no
for
play,
fitting this in
but
today. And
yeah, it worked well.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey,
Cool.
we're in chapter 10, I don't know, how deep we want to dive into it today, but certainly want to kind of give it a little, maybe like an introduction, or, if you don't have the Resilient book yet, certainly get this. We're in chapter 10. Really, chapter 10 is kind of a segue. It kind of transitions to, okay, now how do we begin to apply and how do we actually start to think about, a philosophy for making resilient child disciples.
Mm-hmm.
The beginning part of the book really sets the stage of, okay, are we doing enough? What is 2050 going to look like, right?
Yeah.
What is resilient child discipleship? And now we're going to transition to some kind of, how can we then begin to apply and make some adjustments in our ministry to specifically think about how do we build a culture where we produce resilient child disciples? And I love the beginning of this, and you're going to know why.
Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question before we get into that.
Yeah.
Why is culture so important, Scott? Why is it, when we talk about this, why is it so important that we create a culture and don't just kind of implement this in a programmatic type of standpoint?
Because creating a culture has more success long term.
Long term, yes.
Right?
So the idea being, this isn't just this is how we do Awana, but rather this is who we are as
Right.
a person, as a church,
And
as
it
a
defines
ministry.
what we call success too, right?
Yes.
Because sometimes I think within programs here, programs there, you might have little clips of what you deem success, but what is the overall outcome, right? If you're creating a culture that's going to produce an overall outcome, within your ministry, and then obviously we recognize that the culture outside has a huge influence, and so we need to make sure that we are creating a culture that has
On the inside.
Yes, that has an influence to combat, this culture that is very intentional with our children, for sure.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Yeah, I read one time a quote that said, culture eats programs for breakfast every day. I thought that was great. That's a good thought.
That was a good thought. For
So,
sure.
all right, well, let's jump into this. I just wanted to not blow by that. So we took a minute to think about the importance of culture.
Yeah, and this is chapter 10 really starts to talk about, well, what is that culture? What do we need to accomplish to have a more likelihood, a chance to produce a resilient disciple, right? And so we're going to get into, probably not today as much, but belong, believe, become, this philosophy for child discipleship.
Oh, you can't see it.
Yeah. See. Yeah, and and it begins to, this chapter really begins talking about, okay, we need to align our focus and have a singular focus within our ministries and a singular goal. And oftentimes there's so many different, like, it's exactly what we're talking about. And NASA. And I love this figure. I was like, when I read this, I was like, yes, somebody loves space. And I think this is Matt Markin's segment, I believe. And really, I just love how they draw this concept where NASA was so spread out in their goals and, all these like 8 different, strategies that they had going. And then John F. Kennedy stepped up and said, the famous lines, right? We're gonna go to the moon in this decade, and that really gave a focus to NASA.
They had one thing they were worried about. Yep.
There were one thing. And so then within that one thing, they really identified the problems, the things that they need to work to be able to accomplish that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
and
that's
they
so
became
important.
very singular and focused. And so that's kind of the driver for this chapter, is to say, okay, let's get rid of some of the externals and get very passionate about the one goal that we have. And what is that, right? Right. To make resilient disciples for 2050. That should be our focus.
So think about it this way, for our people listening especially. I think thinking about it this way helps. Those who are here, who are in our church, they're going to laugh because they hear this all the time. I just referenced it again, I think, Sunday morning. Our vision of making disciples as a church, we call that our clothesline.
Right.
So, as a Kidmin leader, if child discipleship is your vision, then that's your clothesline. And then we think about every opportunity we have to do something. As a pastor, I get countless, like, hey, here's a great way to grow your church. Here's a great program you need to do. Here's something you need to be involved in. Here's where you need to give your money to. All this stuff. And it would be easy to get sucked into that. And you even wonder, okay, is this a good program or not? Sometimes they are good programs. But do they hang on the clothesline? Right. Does this accomplish?
Does it accomplish what you're...
We've talked about this before, and I'm not ashamed to say it because I'm thrilled with where Awana's going. We had a time in our history, as we were pursuing our vision, where our Awana commanders said, hey, as we're beginning to understand discipleship, I don't know that Awana is going to hang on that clothesline.
Right.
Thankfully, it wasn't long before they came back and said, hold on, they're changing directions.
Yeah, right.
And now Awana hangs perfectly on that clothesline.
Exactly.
But even within Awana, we have to think about, I sent you a clip of it was actually our Awana commander talking, just giving some praises on a Sunday morning. And he said, hey, we've learned that exactly what we talked about in AMC. We've learned there are times that our Awana leaders, especially in one of our boys groups, they ask so many questions, and they're good questions. There's times we're just going to park the book.
Right.
We're going to park worrying about memorizing a verse. We're going to answer these questions. We're going to start to ground them in the Word, because that's what the clothesline is. If Awana brings them in and is that tool, but these other side things are not usable right now, doesn't mean later we're not going to work through the book and do those things.
Right.
But for now, we're going to just worry about the clothesline, the laser focus. Let's go to the moon.
Right, exactly. Let's go to the moon, right? And then one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was monumental, right?
Yeah.
They accomplished what they set out. Why? Because they were singular in focus and drive.
But that's such a great illustration, because when we start thinking about child discipleship, chances are you are never going to see that giant leap at once. It's a lot of small steps, and we have to know that. That's why we have to be so laser focused, because it's easy to get distracted with things that look like they might work faster,
right?
But will they work better? And no, God has designed right. Yeah. God has designed disciple making as His way to build the church.
Yeah, and all along the way, celebrating the wins, right? I think
Absolutely.
That's so important. Oftentimes we lose sight of those. They might seem little and trite, but wow, that helps us continue to move forward.
Yes.
And continue to do the work, because it's tough work.
Well, when you celebrate a win, I might be frustrated and discouraged, but when you celebrate a win, then I'm like, let's keep going.
This can
let's
happen.
Keep going.
This is
can
working.
Happen.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so into that chapter a little bit, NASA had to say, okay, we need propulsion, we need navigation, we need life support. We're going to focus on these. We're going to drive it home. And they had a singular goal, a specific goal. That goal was clear, it was focused, it was measurable, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that's, as you think about your ministry, it's important for us to sit down and say, okay, what is our goal? What do we want to accomplish here?
Yes.
Not just we're doing a VBS because we've always done VBS, or we're going to continue to do Awana because we've always done Awana. Like, there should be some drive.
Yeah.
Right?
The question I ask constantly, simple, why?
Right.
Why? Why are we doing Awana?
Exactly.
Why are we doing VBS or whatever it might be?
Yeah. And I'm going to quote something here. In children's ministry, the year 2050 almost feels as distant as the moon. But the cultural race is on, big time. Secular culture is designed to distract our kids into corrupt ideology or lull them into consumer complacency. Wow. I mean, that is true.
Yeah.
Our culture is laser focus on pulling the attention of our kids away from anything that has to do with God.
So we have to be that laser focused.
We do.
Pull them back to God.
Very, very intentional.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk a lot about intentionality. And so, yeah, what do you guys think? You know, those of you who are out there with us, any comments, any thoughts on this as we're really, you know, starting to dive into chapter 10 here? Again, there's
I don't know that we intended to dive in that deep, but that's just, we go,
happens,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. So we're actually running down to the end of our time here.
Exactly.
Here's what I think, Scott, I'd like to challenge everybody with is we're kind of hitting the reset button with this. And I'd call them to hit the reset button as well. Think about whatever ministries you're in, but especially your kids' ministries, Awana, whatever you're in, think about that and ask yourself why I'm doing what I'm doing. What are my specific goals, and are the things I'm doing getting me there? And if they're not, figure out how to get there.
Right. And we do this.
Do?
We do this around the new year. I mean, this is kind of very, very appropriate conversation.
Yeah.
You know, many of us, and you even did, I think, a podcast or a video thing recently on that topic, you know, on the idea of goals and
right.
Yeah.
Well, the idea was build habits rather than just making New Year's resolutions. And I think this is part of that. Build some habits that are going to help you reach the vision and the goal of what your ministry is.
Yeah, and certainly, you know, keep an eye out for us as we continue to move forward. You know, we haven't really set a date for our next one, but we need to do that soon.
Yeah.
And get that on the books, and love for you to join us in that and to join us in the conversation. Again, get this book if you don't have it, A Resilient Child Discipleship and the Fearless Future of the Church from Awana. And love for you to join us in chapter 10 and really begin to dive into, okay, how do we make this work? What are some things that we can do? How do we create this culture that is going to adequately prepare the future leaders of the church? Because it's a very important thing, very important endeavor. So
absolutely. Yeah, and we'll keep an eye out on our Facebook page. Our goal is to get more active there as well.
For sure.
So, Lord willing, next month we'll be back. We're working hard to get back to getting back to monthly streaming here.
For sure.
And if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I post there weekly. So if you enjoy this content, I have somewhat similar content there as well.
Sure.
So jump over there, just search for my name on YouTube, Joshua Putnam, and you can find it.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. And
later. To infinity and beyond.
Feel free to get creative if you want to add to our mug collection.
Add to our mug collection. Oh, boy, we got to watch out what we're going to get. This is fun.
All
right. Bye, friends.
We'll see you in the next one.